constantly reiterate. When you're building a startup, when you first start with the goal that you have and what you perceive it's going to be, is nothing like what it will end up being. I've gone through 3 or 4 different names of the product to get what I've done over 5 years. I've gone through constant iterations based on what we felt initially, what the developers thought that we needed to do, the data that we collected from initial users, the feedback that we got from them, how often people were using it, what they were using, what they weren't using. Economically, you need to understand that when you initially have capital going into a startup, it's likely you're going to need 3 times as much money. It's likely that it's going to take 3 times as long, and it's almost certainly likely that it's not going to be the product that you envisioned in the first place. But I have this genuine belief, as long as you keep going, as long as you don't give up and you are willing to take the sacrifice and the difficulty along the way, you'll grow within yourself and you are destined to build something great at the end of it. I think the business metric that taught me the most was having 0, having nothing. Startup life and choosing the way that I've done things has meant for many occasions along the way, I've done and achieved things in the aim of the goals that we're trying to achieve with the business, with little to no finance, with nothing. And most people would have given up, and that's something that I refuse to do. Some people think I'm insane for doing it. Only time will tell. But I've learned more when there's nothing than any time when I've had something. You start to follow a radar. Your intuition tells you who you resonate with and who you don't resonate with. You become more aligned with yourself, and as you become more aligned with yourself, you act from a calm perspective, whereas perhaps previously you might have reacted in certain scenarios with certain people. You start to realize who is going to be at the forefront of your vision, who are going to be, you want to work with people that resonate with where you want to go, what you want to do. Whereas if you don't have that spiritual understanding of your thought process, your inner self, you'll be drawn towards quick fixes, and quick fixes normally come from people that aren't aligned with your vision, that aren't aligned with the betterment of the business, that aren't aligned with the goal of the betterment of humanity. I think as you become more consciously aware and aligned with yourself, you spot the rotten eggs. You have an instinctive feeling of who should be involved and who shouldn't. And a piece of advice I would give is, if you get that feeling, act sooner rather than later, because if you act later, you might end up with a few more extra consequences that you hadn't imagined. Completely. 100%. In the beginning, it was all about how could I make money quick? How could I profit fast? And the existing VC model promotes that, actually, is how can you get quickest to a certain amount of data to get to a certain amount of money? If I had done that, I wouldn't be sat where I am right now. The fact that I took my time, the fact that I grew within myself, the fact I learned about myself, the fact I became conscious within who I truly am is the reason why I'm still sat here, is the reason why we're still working. If I had gone with the basis of think quick to make money fast, to profit quickly, the dream wouldn't be alive today. The fact that I bided my time and accepted this as a journey rather than just a business has given me the capacity to build something far, far, far larger with a far, far greater purpose than what I would have if I had just basically done what traditional venture capitalists or the traditional mindset would say is look to try and profit as quickly as possible. take a look at yourself, a long, hard look at yourself. Because if you're completely financially driven and you lack a spiritual purpose, firstly, I don't believe you'll ever find happiness. I don't think you'll ever find a true purpose. And I think that will just mean you continue to chase this hamster wheel of materialism over what actually is right, what you're meant to truly be. And I actually think that attitude, that thought process doesn't do anything good for anyone, especially the individual involved. Those who chase money and only money and material gain will, I personally believe, get to the end of their lives and realize they missed a trick. I think we're in the era of authenticity. People don't want the BS. People have awakened to understanding how the existing financial and political systems work and how they are not serving humanity in a positive light. I think the world needs conscious founders. The world needs people with a purpose. The world requires someone that is spiritually at least invested in what they do and conscious of what's going on around them. Because if we don't have spiritually conscious founders, and founders are the foundation of what our next systems will be, what our businesses become, we're destined to go down a more darker path than we're already on.